Hello, my name is Christopher Valladares, and today I'm going to explain three brief questions about feminism. So, the first one is, what are some challenges that women still face globally in terms of equality, representation, and opportunities? So, the first I identified, the first that came into my mind was, for example, in political representation as well as in corporate governance. This because when I think, for example, of a chief officer like a CEO or a CFO, I immediately think about a man. So there is like this discrimination that limits women to take those positions. So the this comes from a root that is the limited access to education and employment opportunities. So in many regions, women have less access to education, affecting their long-term career prospects. Also, society and stereotypes can help with this, since they think that a woman duty is to stay with their children. So according to the article that it was presented of women's right, they are refused to access education and political participation, and sometimes there is even violence related to this as a war weapon. So this is very bad, and even it keeps some women from making some personal choices in their private lives. So the second question is, how do intersecting identities such as race, ethnicity, class, sexual orientation, disability, and immigration status intersect with gender to create unique experiences and challenges for women? So the first one is race and ethnicity. So there is limited access, for example, here in Mexico, due to ethnicity. So indigenous people have less access to work, since they are discriminated as they do not belong to the city. The second one is social economical status. So lower income people, especially women, face barriers to education, healthcare, and career advancement, making it harder to break the cycle of poverty. So women in working class are more likely to face exploitation, job insecurity, and lack of maternity protections compared to wealthier counterparts. This can also be explained as lower income. They usually work like in big fabrics, or even in small companies, so they have like certain preference due to the physical labor that men can perform over women that have like this maternity requirements in the law. So they feel they have discrimination. And yeah, then there is sexual orientation, gender identity. This is particularly for transgender women, face higher rates of discrimination, unemployment, and violence. So they are not accepted, first of all, as women, as a woman as it is, and they may not even get reproductive healthcare and personal autonomy with gender affirming surgeries, for example. Then there is disability. Women with disabilities are often excluded from employment opportunities, healthcare, and education as well, because of the special needs that not every single school has the the required equipment in order for them to give the special attention. So this makes it very hard for women with disabilities to find even a job or even to get educated. Immigration, this is particularly dangerous for undocumented individuals, since they are vulnerable to exploitation, deportation rates, for example, the ICE right now in the United States, and the lack of legal protections. The language barriers, for example, for people arriving from different continents to America and vice versa, can also limit access to jobs, education, and social service programs. So the last question I chose is, in what way do social, economic, and political systems disadvantage certain groups of women more than others, and how then can these disparities be addressed? So the first one, as I mentioned, there are certain cultural norms that are rooted to religion. For example, Muslims, Christians, Catholics, they're all religions have this discrimination, systematic discrimination, to women. So sometimes they even limit education, healthcare, and leadership roles. So there is also economic barriers that, as I mentioned at the beginning, the gender pay gap is not reducing. So even though two persons are doing exactly the same job, they are not getting paid the same. And lastly, the political representation, both in governance and corporate governance. Uh, there is this discrimination towards women of color and belonging to LGBTQ community. So they are facing political participation barriers, since they are not what we are used to in politics. So we are used to this white man that is prepared and has education, and it is not even the best option. So in order to address these disparities, first of all, we need policy and legal reforms. For example, enforcing equal pay laws, strengthening anti-discrimination protection, ensuring that workplaces actually pay the same for two jobs that are exactly the same. And I think the most important one is the access to education and awareness. This, as children may get taught in school, like what is feminism and what is the importance of women in society, but it does not matter if in their home their parents talk like bad stuff, and they do not really get like the importance and of the roles of women in society. So empowering marginalized voices can help to support women to lead organizations, to increase their representation in politics, business, and of course, media. Not in the traditional way we are used to, but in ways never seen before. And I think that will be it. So thank you so much for your attention, and yeah.